Alright, so today we have surface area of prisms and cylinders. So my first question, Jessica needs to wrap her dad's birthday gift. She currently has 1,000 inches squared of wrapping paper. Will that be enough to wrap her dad's birthday gift? So what do you think, yes or no? So try and figure that question out. Pause the video. See if you get it right. Alright, so what I did is I dissected this net of the rectangular prism. So you can see that we have sides here that are 10 on this side, as well as 8 on this side, 24 and a half. So I just used my dimensions, wrote my net out, and then I found the area of each rectangle that made up this gift. So this one would be 8 times 10, which is 80. This one is 8 times 24.5, which is 196. This is 10 times 24.5, 245, so on all the way up. That we add up all of those individual areas or individual rectangles for a total surface area of 1,042. So that means we'll need 1,042 inches squared of wrapping paper in order to wrap this. So clearly our answer is no, we don't have enough. Because usually when you wrap a gift, you even have a little bit extra so that you can fold it over and tape it. So we don't even have enough in the first place. So when we talk about surface area, that's exactly what we just did in that problem. So we can find the area of all of the surfaces, hence the name surface area. Once again, math people, not creative in their definitions. But we also have another way of doing it that makes it just a little bit easier instead of drawing a net every time and then doing the problem. So I'm going to write the formula up here. So surface area equals pH plus 2b, where p equals the perimeter of base. So notice it's capitalized to know that we're talking about of the base. Perimeter of base. H is the height of the prism or cylinder, so the solid that we're talking about. And the capital B, just like in volume, is the area of the base. So if this is not on your formula sheet, if you want to write down exactly what each of these letters mean, I highly recommend it. You'll definitely want your formula sheet for this, and you'll want to know the surface area formula. We're going to use a variation of it in the next couple days as well. So make sure you know volume is capital B times H, area of the base times height, and surface area is perimeter of the base times height plus 2 times the base. If we take a look at why this is the case at all, if we want to look at our other example, first of all, we have 2 bases, right? So in this case, we had our base that was 80 and 80. So that's where the 2 times b comes from. And then we have perimeter times the height. And if I look at the perimeter of this base here, if I want to call this my base, my 8 times 10, the perimeter is this distance right here. So the 10 plus 8 plus 10 plus 8, that would be my perimeter. And then times the height of my prism, 24.5. So the way this net is drawn, you have that there. So now we can use that formula and we can solve these problems. So let's start out with number 2, problem A. I'll leave that up there. So the surface area of a prism or cylinder equals pH plus 2b, where p is the perimeter of the base, h is the height of the solid, and b is the area of the base. So let's do it. First of all, think to yourself, what is 2a? What type of shape is it? Lots of people are going to say pyramid, but it can't be pyramid because it has 2 bases. So this is a triangular prism, which means my base is the triangle. So let's do it. So the first thing I need to know is, what is my perimeter of the base? I see this is 16. I see this is 12. This is looking like a perfect Pythag problem, but you're welcome. I gave you this part. You don't have to do the Pythag for it. It is going to be the 20, so it's the same as this. So we have our perimeter is going to be 12 plus 16 plus 20 for an answer of 48 centimeters. Our height of the prism, or our height of the base. Okay, so from base to base, what's my distance? That is 10 centimeters. And then my area of the base, so for a triangle, once again, that's base times height divided by 2. And our base and height make a right angle, so 12 times 16 divided by 2, which would then be 96 centimeters squared. And now that I have the formula, or the pieces that I need, now I can find surface area pretty easy. So surface area equals my area of the, my perimeter of the base, 48, times the height of the solid, that's my h, so times 10, plus 2 times the area of the base, which is 96. So 48 times 10 is 480. 2 times 96 is going to be 192. And then I can just add those numbers for an answer. 672 centimeters. And because it's area, centimeters squared. All right, and that's all you have to do for each of these problems. So for B, we're going to do the same thing. We want to find our perimeter of the base. Only this time we're not working with a prism. It's a cylinder, but it's going to work out the same. So let's start here. Our perimeter of a circle, okay, is just going to be the circumference there. So to find circumference, we do 2 pi r. So in this case, our radius is 3, so it'll be 2 times pi times 3, which would be 6 times pi, 18.84. Then we need to find the height of the cylinder. So what's the distance between the two bases? That's going to be 8. It's right there. And we need to find the area of the base, which is our pi r squared. Our radius is 3. So that'd be pi times 9. 3 squared is 9, for an answer of 28.26. And now it's just taking all of those pieces of information, the 28.26, the 8, and the 18.4, and plugging it into the equation. So, surface area equals our perimeter, 18.84, times the height, which is 8, plus 2, times our area of the base, 28.26. All right, then we do the multiplication. Order of operations, we do multiplication before addition. 150.72 plus 57.2, and then we can add those for an answer of 207.92. We don't have any units for this problem, so we'll call it units squared. So on your formula sheet, you might have something that looks a little bit different for cylinders, but essentially it is the same exact formula. It's going to be our perimeter of the base times height plus 2 times the area of the base. On your formula sheet, perimeter is just the formula for circumference, and the capital B is just the formula for area of a circle. So it breaks it down. I personally don't like to memorize a lot of different formulas, so knowing that this works for both of them, that's the one I like to use. And we have part C, so I'm going to erase a little bit of part B here. We have the height of a cylinder with surface area 42 pi feet squared and radius of 3 feet. Now I do see that pi is in my answer, so we're going to leave pi as pi and not turn it into 3.14 in this problem. All right, so our perimeter, or our circumference, is going to be 2 pi r, which is going to be 6 pi in this case. Our height, that's what we're trying to find, and our area of the base will be pi r squared, so in this case it will be 9 pi. This is a little bit different because now we're searching for the height, but they do give us the surface area. So we could say the surface area, which is 42 pi, is equal to our perimeter, which is 6 pi, times our height, that's what we're trying to find, and then plus 2 times the area of the base, which is going to be 9 pi. So first thing I'm going to do real quick is just multiply 2 times 9 to get 18. So we get 42 pi is equal to 6 pi h plus 18 pi. And now you notice I have a pi here, here, and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to divide by pi, which then will divide by pi here. This becomes 42. This piece is going to become 6h, and this piece just 18. So the pi goes away in all of these problems. And now this is a pretty simple algebra equation that we've been solving all year long. So I'm going to subtract the 18 from both sides. So 24 equals 6h, divide by 6, divide by 6. We get 4 equals our h. This problem is in feet, so 4 feet is going to be the height of the cylinder. All right, that's a lot of information. It's a lot of work, but remember, if you use the formula and you break the formula into parts, okay, just like we did for every single problem. We did this problem first, then the height, then the area of the base, and then you put it all together to form surface area. That's a pretty successful strategy. So there's a lot to each of these problems, but if you break it down to each part, you should be okay. Next page is just some practice ones. Once again, you can pretty much, for now, skip this section, but go ahead and try those other 6 and see if you can find the surface area of those. Obviously, you can feel free to, if you're getting the first few right, you can feel free to just stop and don't have to finish that before moving on to the LT check.